Slight delay on the music there. I apologize. Match out Show with Boy Green Digital at MC Show Digital. Sorry, my streaming platform was giving me a little issue there. All right, welcome aboard. Time to talk Buffalo Bills here on a Thursday night. That means the one and only Anthony Prohaska. You see him right there from Cover One, talking all things Buffalo Bills. He was just in recent attendance at the red and blue game, or the blue and red game that the Bills put on every year, one of their preseason extravaganzas. And it was in, of course, that palatial brand new building that is getting so much press these days for good and bad reasons, Anthony. So we'll get into both sides of it as we discuss the Buffalo Bills in this week's interview. Let me just start with your overall impressions. You were in the building, had good seats, I understand. So talk to me about what the experience was walking into that place for the first time, the seats themselves, the PA system, anything you want to comment on inside that building.
Yeah, I had a good time. I had a buddy's seats because he was unable to make it in for the game. They were in the 300s. Sightline was fantastic. The one thing I noticed immediately, kind of similar to living in New York for years. I've been to Barclays a couple times, which was a newer, granted NBA arena, but I always remember first time I went to Barclays, like the higher it goes, it's not like out and then up. It's more just kind of like up. And the higher you go in your seats, you almost kind of feel like if you stand up, you're going to fall straight down and land on the floor all the way down.
Yes.
And the new Bill Stadium has a little of that. But when you're sitting, it's great. It makes you feel like you're right on top of literally the action, the game, the field. So I thought the sight lines and the view and the vantage point where I was great. Also was nice in the area where I was covered by the canopy. So it decided to pour rain during the scrimmage. And my wife and I were completely covered. It was good. Yeah, that was nice. And I mean, the stadium, I remember the first time I went to MetLife and I felt like, whoa, this is huge. This is a big football stadium. And that's how the new Bill Stadium feels. It looks like everything I was saying, during, on social media during it, it feels like if the Death Star didn't have a roof and had a football field in it, this would be the Bill Stadium. If one of the alien ships from Independence Day landed, that's what this is. And it's huge. And it kind of hit me all at once, but in a good way. Because I park in a neighborhood and walk onto the main road. But as you're walking and looking in between the houses, you can see this huge stadium in the back. And the walk up was cool. The Buffaloes were a little underwhelming in person, but they were cooler at night. The Charge logo lights up and it does some cool things that reflects off the metal, but I still don't love the futuristic-y design. I thought they were underwhelming in the daytime, cooler at night. But overall, I thought the stadium, I liked the layout. I liked the build. I know for some people it was bad or unenjoyable, but I like the feel. It also felt a little bit like the Toronto Blue Jay Stadium from a concourse standpoint, and I love the design of that baseball stadium. I've been to so many Blue Jays games. So yeah, I liked it. I had a great time. I think the stadium's really good. I guess it's not depending on where your seats are, but I had a great time.
Yeah, we'll get to that controversy in just a little bit. It's really been quite the swirl and explanations being thrown left and right. And some of them do indeed make some kind of sense. But one of the things I was just reading, because now that the stadium has been unveiled, a lot of things are being written about the stadium. And one of them is, Anthony, that actually across the NFL, it is the smallest in terms of the amount of seats, just over 60,000 in the entire NFL. The Bills have the least seats of any stadium, apparently. I can't believe that with a new stadium. But part of the reason behind that, just to offer an explanation of sorts, they decided to go with more legroom in the stadium. The other thing that I want to comment about, and then we'll exchange on both of these items, is not so surprising, new things, and people pay up. But from an average cost, they did some company out there did a survey, so to speak, of average cost for a family of four to experience a game in every NFL stadium across the league. And guess who's number one? The Bills, with this brand new stadium. So it's proving to be pricey. It's proving to be smaller than most stadiums, although the leg room is plentiful. So talk about those a couple of things. What about the price for people in Buffalo? And what about, did you experience, dare I say, a bit more room than maybe you have in prior stadium visits?
Oh, I definitely felt more room. It's funny, I didn't even connect the dots on like the less seating being tied to that.
Mhm.
I wish it had, more seats. I always think it's cool, like how many the big house in Michigan can seat, and like Happy Valley and Penn State, and what the Bills old stadium was, what Arrowhead is for Kansas City, and like the bigger stadiums that can fit more people, especially like not suites, like real fan type seating. I wish the Bills stadium did have more of that, but the legroom thing is definitely real. I even made note because we had a couple people who multiple times, we were kind of like in the middle of where we were. So we were getting people going like this way to exit and that way to exit. Um, and we didn't really have to stand up to let them go by us.
That's
If
great.
anybody, yeah, right. If anybody's ever been to a movie or any type of sporting event, anything with
Oh,
seats,
yeah.
when somebody has to go by,
They're
you all
getting up.
stand up.
Oh,
Yep.
man.
And they're
Yeah.
like, I'm sorry. And you're like, no, it's fine. But like they go in front of you and like they're touching you because you're like close. We weren't getting that at all. Like there was good leg room, good space in
Mm.
front of us. As far as the expensive aspect of it, I think part of it comes with the new stadium. I think a lot of it though too is going to be driven by, I think that estimate of, a cost of like a family or for
Yeah.
whatever. I think that was tied from, isn't it from like a if you're buying a ticket on the open market, like a StubHub value or something, right?
Correct. Plus, food and all of that stuff as well. So it's a total package deal here. Yeah.
Yes. So I think some of it is the market dictating that, versus what the true cost of the seasons are. But even if it is, if you're a season ticket holder, it's still more. The cost of your seats went up. You have to pay the PSL price now. The food was definitely expensive. I mean, even just the first round of stuff we got, I got like my wife got a burger, and we also got one of those not like a true, it wasn't a Truly or a Celsius, but one of those, like, the can of
Yeah.
like an alcoholic, like, seltzer type of deal.
Gotcha.
It
Yep.
wasn't too big, skinny, kinda small. That was 14 bucks, and the
Ooh,
burger was 14 bucks. So just
boy.
off those 2 things already, like, we went and paid, and I was like, "Shit." Like,
Yeah.
okay.
Look out, baby.
Yeah, it is. So that kinda hits you too.
So no
Um
Augusta National pricing there in Buffalo for the new stadium, huh?
No, just yeah, you're
Very
getting, you're it's top of the pops, which, again, I think all of this, when you add it up all together, I think, not to keep bringing it up like the Nickel City jerseys, but it ties even more to like, oh, the collar's blue in Nickel City because we're a working town. It's like, well, are you trying to price out if you all the working town people and like all the working class and the blue collar people? Like, you think those people can afford like a $14 burger, and like everybody's gonna have to bring like peanut butter and jelly to the stadium to eat if they want to get stuff regularly? Or I guess, what, honestly, tailgate. You're already tailgating, make more of an effort, I guess, to like eat there, not eat in the stadium too much. Maybe you get a drink in the stadium or two, or something small. But yeah, it's definitely concessions are definitely a bit pricey. And then that's on top of just if you bought from a third party site for your ticket, let alone if you had seasons and your PSL prices and everything
Yeah.
with that.
I'll tell you what, just before we started recording this interview, I got an email from the New York Knicks who, I
Mm,
kind of subscribe to certain
mhm.
things that they put out. And the thing was, hey, the whole schedule's out, the whole deal, all the tickets are available now, so to speak, right? So you can
Yeah.
now buy your tickets, for Knicks games. So I was like, opening night now, the schedule's out, and one of the big announcements for the Knicks is opening night, they're going to play the 76ers, who just added LeBron
Oh,
James, right? Obviously, they
yeah.
added Brown from the Celtics. Jaylen
Yeah.
Brown came over. So,
Maybe an Eastern Conference Finals
yeah, and I mean,
preview type of deal. Yeah.
and granted, it is opening night, and opening night always kind of gets a little bit more, and they're coming off a win in the championship, so a lot of people want to be in the building, and kind of
Expensive.
that fanfare that'll probably be there. But
Expensive.
yeah, I just look like, so, okay, so what's the cheapest ticket? This is secondary market, all right, that sent me this email and say, hey, tickets are available. Go get your tickets. So I was like, no, opening night, that'd be fun to go with my son. Let me see what the going rate is right now. You want to take a gander? Single ticket, lowest price.
One ticket, lowest price, $600.
Over $1,600. So
Oh
there
my
you
god, I
go.
was not even close. Wow.
Insane, Anthony. And that's the cheapest ticket. Cheapest
It's like we're
ticket.
going back to finals
Yeah.
prices again.
It's
Like
nuts.
you and I talked about that during the finals of how like how are you supposed to be a regular like,
Correct.
Timmy from Queens wants to go see the Knicks. Like, good luck.
Good luck.
Man,
Forget it.
that's
You can't.
crazy.
So forget it. I'm not going opening night. Unless somebody gives me tickets, I'm not going opening night. That's just literal
Wow.
insanity. That's insanity. That's a 2 hour and 15-minute regular season basketball game. I don't care if LeBron James is on the court and Brown and, the rebuilt who cares? $1,600 and change. Okay. And that's probably before the fees too,
I was going to say,
So,
yeah, you haven't even gotten,
grief. It's just, come on. This is not the NBA finals. I mean, it was bad enough that they gouged people that way. But again, it's the going rate, Anthony. People will pay it. They'll pay it. If people won't pay it, those prices will go down. But I don't see it. I see nothing but the prices going up. This is like the first availability. I'm like, oh my gosh. So welcome to the real world, Buffalo Bills fans, New York Knicks fans, and every other fan, people out there that love a team. Get the big flat screen, man. Splurge for the 77-incher, like expand your viewing portal in your living room. Because I'm telling you, it's becoming more and more feasible to stay home and enjoy the team, all right, than it is to go to the stadium and enjoy the team. I mean, it especially if you're, and that's a single ticket, Anthony. That's a single ticket. Oh, my son, that's like $4,000, throw in concessions or whatnot. It might be 4,500. I mean, what the heck?
And especially for you too, like that's not like, okay, if you're driving, like you got to do that, 4-hour-ish drive and one way, like that. Oh God,
just crazy, Anthony. So welcome to the real world, and that all connects to what we just talking about here with the Buffalo Bills, for sure. Let's get into the controversy for a moment. So, okay, everyone gets into the stadium. All right, big night. We got the red and blue, right, this weekend. We're going to talk about the preseason game and what's going on with that. I'm going to get a real, competitive football game going on there against another team. But people come into the building, and the way the stadium is designed, essentially, I guess on the both ends, you can maybe explain it better since you were there, but at the ends, end zone, they decided they're going to put the stairwells or some of the stairwells in those areas. And the idea is so that you can open up the concourse where all the food is, where you get up to go to the bathroom and everything, and you'll be able to have a 360-degree view from the concourse when you're out of your seat. So basically, you could stand on the line, look behind, and still be watching the game. Don't miss a play kind of thing. That was the idea of the design. Unfortunately, what they didn't, I'm sure they considered it, but how do you expect the public to react? You're charging enormous ticket prices, PSLs, as you mentioned, for your season tickets. And some people walk into the building, sit in their seat, and discover they have an obstructed view, that there's like a scoreboard in the stairwells or something are kind of blocking their view to certain areas of the field. You're going to get a terse reaction to that, Anthony. Now, I think there are a lot of nice things about this stadium, but to me, that's inexcusable to make a mistake like that. And now to have it become what everyone's talking about right now is not the beauty of this stadium or the great lighting or the fabulous PA system or the great sight lines. It's, but those people over there, they're really screwed. Talk to me about it.
Yeah, I know there's some seats that are obstructed by like kind of the clear stairwell aspect, that, and there's so many. I think what's annoying with this too is so many people have kind of like bastardized it and dragged it. So now it's like what's true, what's not. And so
yes, true.
Some people have obstructed views, but then that also would have likely been presented to them at the time of their season ticket purchase. But then but off of that, some people were like, hey, this is what was presented to us. We understood this. Other people were like, here's exactly what I was shown. And they showed a picture of it. And they're like, this isn't that. It's more obstructed. Then you've got certain people are going to like a random spot in the arena to be like, oh, I think I found the worst seat in the house. Knowing that people are going to think you mean an actual seat, but it's not an actual seat. You just took a picture from a random spot. Yeah. So there's that worst seat in the house one isn't an actual seat. Like it's just a random spot. Like he just meant like worst seat in the house in quotes, but everybody took it as like, you mean an actual seat.
Wow.
And he not feigned, but he pled ignorance on that one. I was like, oh, I didn't
so that's a gross exaggeration.
1,000%. So there's
there are obstructed view seats, which does bother me in the modern era of building stadiums and $2.2 billion, by the way.
I just feel like
you build this baby. Come on, man.
I'm not an architect
or million, 2.2 million. Did I say billion? It's million, right?
I think it was. No, it was
billion. It is billion. Yeah, it's 2.2 billion.
It's a gajillion dollars.
Yeah.
I'm not an architect. I'm not a building engineer or any type of engineer like that. But to your point, like, was it really necessary to kind of sacrifice anybody's like sight lines? Like, I feel like that is like a non-negotiable. Like no one should have an obstructed view. And I get it, even if you're like, even if it was, well, these people knew that ahead of time and they still bought their tickets that way and so on and so. Really though, like why does that even have to be an option? Like we're not in the modern enough of an era where we can still have the concourse thing that we want, but not obstruct people's views or as many
Right.
people's views or make it so pronounced. I did again, I was lucky enough that where I sat didn't have any of that. And when I saw some of that for folks, I was like, oh, that sucks. Like you can see the glass part of the stairwell, like warping what you see. The railing is kind of in the middle of what you got going
Right.
on there.
Yes.
And yeah, it's to your point. Like, I feel like it, again, I'm not an engineer and architect. I feel like it's really possible to design a stadium without needing to do that.
Or
And
how
so,
about you just don't put seats in that area and put something else there, signage, something else, so that
yeah,
you don't have people sitting in a seat that they can't see everything that you would want to see in a football game. I mean, I
yeah,
don't care. Even if people paid reduced prices for this, it's just crazy when you are designing a stadium from scratch.
yeah,
I understand you want all this to be fabulous, but let's not forget about that too. So it's just kind of crazy to me.
yeah. And the
It's a
scratch
shame that
part
it's
is good.
becoming the talk of the stadium because there are a
Yes.
lot of nice things about it. But to me, like, who's making these decisions and who goes, yeah, that'll be cool. Like, not cool, not cool. No matter what,
No.
not cool.
And your part, the building it from scratch part is a great one too. It's not like, well, we're remodeling the
Right. Got
stadium,
to
so
work
we're
with what
locked
we have
into
here.
certain.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you're building it from scratch. You can do whatever the hell you want. Like, there's no, oh, well, how come you put the bathroom here on the first floor in this
Yeah.
weird spot?
Right.
Well, we were locked in. No, you didn't. You built your own house. You didn't have to put the bathroom there. Like, what are you
Of
doing? Yeah,
course.
I
Right.
just don't. Yeah, that's a great point.
That's
I
the
don't get it.
insanity of it, right? It's that's what's driving me crazy about it. So, I guess again, if I had one of those seats, even if I knew, I'd still be like, why would you
Yeah,
put
and
this
especially
seat
too,
in
like
a
with how
building? Right?
expensive everything is, and you have this expense and this brand new, all this brand new that, expense this, cost this. You would expect, okay, well, it's going to cost this much, but everything's going to be
Yeah.
perfect, no qualms, everything's going to be tip top. And I know you can't please everyone, and some people will always find a way to complain. But I feel like obstructed views in a stadium is a non-negotiable thing that
That's a
should not
legit
happen for
complaint. Yeah,
anybody.
that
Yeah,
is a
I agree.
legit complaint. Man Chow Show with Boy Green Digital at MC Show Digital. Right there's our YouTube link. Please feel free to subscribe to our channel. It's absolutely free. And don't forget, like the video on the way in if you enjoy what you're listening to. We talk Buffalo Bills football every single week with Anthony Prohaska at Cover One. Go check him out there, man. Does an awesome job for Cover One. Breaks down the film. Anthony's a real psychotic. When we start getting into regular season games, we'll start talking about coverage patterns and offensive line schemes and all kinds of stuff. And Anthony is fabulous at doing that. So you don't want to miss a beat on that. We are presented today by Northeast Roofing Professionals. Today's video brought to you by our friends at Northeast Roofing Professionals. Anthony, let's take 30 seconds here from Northeast, and then we'll come back. I want to talk to you about injuries. I want to talk to you about some other really interesting stories going on with the Bills. So I don't want to let the cat out of the bag. Stick around, folks. Plenty more to come right after this.
Finding the right local roofing company can be tricky. You don't want to hire the wrong roofers, or you could end up spending a fortune on repairs. The pros at Northeast Roofing Professionals can ensure your home is protected by a strong and sturdy roof. Locally owned and operated, over 30 years experience, free estimates, and competitively priced. Don't settle for an inexperienced roofing contractor. Turn to Northeast Roofing Professionals. Discounts for military and first responders. Reach out and let them put a sturdy roof over your head. NERPCNY.com. NERPCNY.com.
All right, we are back talking all things Buffalo Bills football with Anthony Prohaska from Cover One, talking all things Bills. Anthony, let's talk injuries real quick. When I heard about that CJ Gardner Johnson injury last week, I was really, really worried. I know the early reports were, hey, relax, it's not an Achilles. It is genuinely actually a calf strain. It does seem like that is the case and that he's going to be serviceable going forward. So talk about the relief that Buffalo Bills fans must feel that guy is going to be okay.
Oh, yeah, he's a huge part of the excitement, I think, for the Bills defense this year. I think number one, it starts with Jim Leonard. But from an on the field standpoint, you've got different things. I think Caleb Elarm-Zor has been making some noise. You've got some people who are excited for TJ Parker, maybe Bradley Chubb, but I think CJ Gardner Johnson is kind of like the big ticket item. And his pairing with Cole Bishop in particular, and what they can do with their athleticism and versatility, and what Leonard can do with their traits and their skill sets. And as I noted when I was at camp those first 3 days, he was the best Buffalo Bill in training camp, not just on the defensive side of the ball. Overall, he was phenomenal on and off the field. The leadership he was displaying, the coaching up he was doing, let alone the plays he was making on the field. And so to see him go down was really worrisome. And a couple people were immediately like, "Oh, he did this. It means Achilles," and it ended up being a calf strain, which can still be problematic. But he played. He's been practicing. He played in the blue and red. It looks like, fingers crossed, no jinx, he's on track for week 1. But I mean, he's been banged up. He's one of several Bills who didn't appear at practice again today. A couple of them being injured from the blue and red with Connor McGovern and Ty Johnson. Skyler Bell continues to be banged up. He's been banged up essentially all offseason. Cole Bishop kind of got banged up in a way that no one really knew about or saw during the blue and red. He hasn't been practicing. Maxwell Hairston got hurt before the blue and red. He didn't play in that. He's been kind of banged up. So it's that time of year. Football's back, and with it comes injuries and guys getting banged up, and then you sit and you hold your breath and play the waiting game.
This is an interesting thing I was reading on the Buffalo Bills this week. So Josh Allen apparently is very excited about the fact that your young coach, Joe Brady, decided to kind of have a lieutenant by his side to help him offensively. Now, Brady is still going to continue to call the plays. He's been doing this for the last 2.5 years with the Bills. But now he's got this guy that's working alongside him. The guy's name is Pete Carmichael. He's 54 years old, and he's been in NFL coaching since 2000. Okay, so this guy's got 26 years of coaching experience around his belt. Talk to me about that relationship, Anthony, and is that chatter warranted that, that Brady decided to keep, dare I say, an elder statesman alongside him to kind of help him see things offensively?
Yeah, I think there is merit to that and some fire to that smoke. Brady, first time head coach. He's also still going to like run the offensive side of the ball, call the plays. And so he wanted someone who he trusted, who could kind of be, the right hand of the king and help him a bit. And he goes to Pete Carmichael, who we spent time with under Sean Payton, both of them together in New Orleans. And Carmichael, for the longest time, I don't even remember all the years off, but essentially was like Sean Payton's offensive coordinator for the entirety of like Payton's New Orleans run, which again, kind of strike some similarities here. Sean Payton was the one running the offense in New Orleans. So Carmichael was very much kind of like a right hand to the king type of deal, like he will be here in Buffalo. And so Carmichael's a guy who's been around the block. He knows what it's like to be in that role. He knows what it's like to support that head coach on that side of the ball. He also knows this offense, like Brady's philosophy, what Brady wants to do. They come from the same tree. They have a good relationship. They have a good understanding. And so I just think that it ticks a lot of boxes. I think it brings in an air of comfort for Joe Brady and someone who he trusts, someone who has experience, someone who he values, and also someone who, knows kind of how to pull the right levers and push the right buttons in the way that he wants to, because they are from the same tree, and it's somebody who he can delegate to and he knows can handle certain things for him, especially I would imagine not just through training camp and through the season and during the week and in practice and installs and things, but on game day when Brady has to do some head coach stuff. He knows he's got somebody who, okay, drive the car for 5 minutes real quick. I got to go do this other thing over here. And he's got confidence in that guy driving the car.
Yeah, no question about it. I think it's actually a wise choice. It's something that I think enough coaches don't do sometimes, and they don't put veteran guys around them to be able to help them. I kind of, I'm concerned, but yet I love what the Giants did with their offensive situation, where they have Matt Nagy, they have Callahan, all right, and then they have Greg Roman. Massively experienced guys all around the offensive side. Now, Nagy is going to be the offensive coordinator, and he's going to be the play caller, but he'll have those resources. And one of them is named passing game coordinator, and the other one's, run game, guru, so it's like, oh, well, what exactly is Matt Nagy doing? Well, ultimately, he's the one deciding after he gets all that input what to do with that input. But it's nice to have that input. I always think stuff like that can be really, really complimentary to a coordinator or to a head coach, in this case with Joe Brady. So we'll see how that all breaks down. Another one, I want to get into you on this, Anthony. This to me, I got in a bit of a tiff. Sometimes I say things on the podcast here that either gets my colleague fired up or one of our regular interviewers fired up. And this is a case in our Wednesday live show just yesterday. We got into talking about John Harbaugh and the Giants, and we were talking about Minter, the new head coach for Baltimore.
Yeah.
And our NFL insider, Matt Lombardo, who does weekly with us and talks all things NFL, had been visiting training camps, and one of the training camps he went to was Baltimore. Okay. So I was asking him about Minter and everything, and I've been reading a lot of stuff coming out of Baltimore from some of the Baltimore beats, and it's been a lot of, like, dare I say, in my own weird way, Harbaugh bashing. That, like, Mentor's got them disciplined now. Mentor's got command of the room now. Things are changing. The culture's moving. And my statement was kind of simple, but it really raised the ire of my two colleagues when I just said, hey, boys, the grass isn't always greener, okay? John Harbaugh, to me, is going to be in the Hall of Fame as a head coach, okay? I know he's only got one ring right now. Maybe he's going to get some more with my Giants or wherever else he might venture when his career is finally wraps up, all right? But I think he's a Hall of Fame level coach. I think the same thing of Mike Tomlin, okay? Who also only has one ring, okay? But did a lot of winning. John Harbaugh did a lot of winning in Baltimore. And now you got a new guy. And yeah, I'm sure there's excitement in this change. This guy's never been a head coach. Okay. And the same thing comes here to Buffalo, Joe Brady. All right. And so I'm reading all this stuff, and it's just like, how everything's changing in the right direction. And, it got stale, and therefore it's fresh now. Hey, fresh isn't always great if it doesn't work. Okay. So I was just kind of, dare I say, sort of, without really knowing a ton about Jesse Minter. And I'll swear that I don't know a ton about him, especially don't know a ton about him as a head coach, because no one knows what Jesse Minter head coach is going to be. But I'll tell you what I do know. I do know what John Harbaugh is. I do know what Sean McDermott was. Okay. And again, I'm going to bring it full circle now back here to the Bills. And the reason I ask you this, I hear a lot of positive stuff around Joe Brady and all the things that he's doing and how the culture's changing. And I want to say again, I didn't agree with the firing. I think Sean McDermott was a phenomenal coach. What he built there in Buffalo has been long-lasting and sustainable, just like what Harbaugh did down there in Baltimore. So let's discuss that, Anthony. Is the grass greener? Is the excitement warranted? Are my points valid or not? Feel free to go against me if you don't agree with me. Go ahead.
No, I think your points are valid. We don't know. It's for all this stuff, especially for like first-time head coaches. But even if it's repeated head coaches, like or guys who, Harbaugh, he could be phenomenal with the Giants and take them to the years of success the way he did in Baltimore. He could flame out and be absolutely terrible. Joe Brady could be phenomenal with the Bills. He could be terrible. Jesse Minter could be a great defensive mind, horrible head coach. I think there's always the variables to it. You don't know until you really get in it. But I think a lot of times, more often than not, unless the hiring is a retread coach that like everyone is really down on, and it takes almost a perfect storm for that to exist. I'm saying this and thinking of like all like the head coach hirings that happen year after year, new guys, retreads, young guys, offensive, defense, all this stuff. More often than not, I feel like we get a lot of these camp buzzwords, like from different publications, local beat guys, national beat guys. It's all the same of like, oh, so-and-so talks about how there's a different air, a different feeling in the air this year in camp under a new coach. It's like, and so I take a lot of it with a grain of salt. I think a lot of it is just kind of, placating and kind of playing to the organization or to the crowd. Similarly to, again, not to keep going back to the jerseys, like I think Bill's PR was like, hey, Josh, everybody's ripping these Nickel City jerseys. We need you to go out at the presser today at camp and tell everybody how you like them and how you think they're good. And you know what else we're going to do? For the scrimmage, we're going to have you wear the Nickel City uniform to make everybody really get excited for them. Like, I just think there's a lot of posturing that happens at this point of the year, and there's stories that are and narratives that are portrayed, and we're really not going to know until we get into the grind and the bullets are live and we're in the trenches and we know what's up. And there is something to be said for coaches who have done it, whether they're staying somewhere or going somewhere new. You have a baseline. You have some semblance of a known quantity. First-time head coaches, you don't. Could it be amazing? Absolutely. Could it be a dumpster fire? Absolutely. Could you, to keep it with the Bills, you could get the exact same results that you got under Sean McDermott now with Joe Brady. You could be better. You could be worse. You have no idea. And that is kind of the dance that we're going to do week in and week out until we see what happens with the Bills this year. And what's going to be tough for Joe Brady is if he falls short of what Sean McDermott has done, if they don't make the playoffs, if they lose in the wild card, right? Because the bar has been kind of set for the Bills where you're making the Final Four in the AFC every year. It's just a matter of, are you getting out of the divisional round and are you getting to the Super Bowl? So the ceiling has been the AFC Championship, but the floor the past several years is the divisional round. So if you lose in the wild card, or if you don't win the division, or you don't make the, I shouldn't say not to win the division. If you don't make the playoffs, or if you lose in the wild card, then you failed. And then it becomes, I think, an opportunity for all these people to be like, to go back to these comments and be like, oh, everybody was saying how the feeling is different and the vibe is different. Well, that sucks because the Bills are worse now than they were before, and so on and so forth. And if it works, to your point, right? If it works, then it was all true and everything's great and sunshine and rainbows. And if it doesn't work, it was all a lie. And everybody was, putting these stories out there and leaking this stuff to portray an image that didn't exist. And so that's why I take it all with a grain of salt. Like perception is reality. This stuff will all be shaped differently, positively or negatively based on the results. But I do think a lot of it is just par for the course. Anytime you get a new coach, just, oh yeah, I'm excited. Oh, how are things different? It's just different, a new voice in here, a different energy. He sees the game different. These are all like the buzzwords that gets echoed at all the different spots, and we are where we are.
And I think in some weird way, the media is to blame because we have to write things during camp.
I agree. Yes.
We grab these sound bites and these quotes and we write stories about them because, what are we going to write about?
And also too, because like, what are the players going to do? Like if you ask Josh Allen, how do you feel with Joe Brady at the helm? Like, what's he going to be like? Actually, I think
something exciting about it. Yes.
And Josh Allen, I think, has done a good job saying, like, he's not like, oh, it's better with Joe Brady. He's given a lot of political answers, which has been like, it's different. Not saying it's worse or better. It's different. But, I love Joe. We go way back. It's been fun. I'm having a good time. It's different. But, yeah, what do you expect him to come out and be like? Well, you know what? Actually, I hated playing for Sean McDermott, so this is way better. Or do you expect the other side for him to be like, actually, I think this is going to suck under Joe Brady. I think we made a mistake. No, he's going to toe the company line and be in the middle as much as he can. And that's how everybody's going to be. And then, yes, the media jumps in and is like, grabs the quote. Josh Allen says, training camp feels different under Joe Brady. And everybody's like, oh, headline. There we go. Yeah.
I was trying to watch this video before we recorded today because I was curious because it hit this nerve which is why I'm asking you this question and having this discussion with you because this is just a headline for a video. Now I was clicking on the video and the link wasn't working, so I didn't get to watch it. I wanted to absorb the context. I wanted to listen to it and see whether the context and the headline match, because you know how we sensationalize headlines these days, whether it's for video clips, whether it's in newspapers and websites, it doesn't matter. We sensationalize. We want people to read and click. I understand the meaning behind it. I'm sure I do some of it myself right here on the YouTube channel. But I always try to be honest about what is contained to some, some level of reality. But the clip headline read, Terrell Bernard discusses new standard of Bills football. And immediately my mind just went right to, well, what are you saying? That the old standard with Sean McDermott, who, by the way, did a lot of winning in Buffalo for the last 10 years or whatever it was, all right? That is a new standard now. Oh, well, the new standard. Well, we all should, get excited about the new standard. I don't know, man. I don't like this disrespect of coaches like Sean McDermott, all right, John Harbaugh, just to use two current examples right now, okay, who have gone out and done something that very few men who get opportunities to be head coaches in the NFL have ever done. And that's become a consistent winner. Build a program, okay? We say that in college, or build a franchise, okay? As we say in professional football. Those two guys deserve mad respect because we have seen a lot of guys fall by the wayside who had all the hope and promise in the world, who had all the credentials in the world, but then given the reins, flopped, okay? These two guys stayed for long periods of time and had sustained winning. I understand one guy didn't win one, okay? And the other guy won one a long time ago. And people say now his message is stale. That's why they had to throw him out of Baltimore. I'd take any of those guys in a heartbeat over some new hotshot offensive coordinator. I'd rather have the thing that's proven, Anthony. I'd rather have the guy that I think might be going to the Hall of Fame than the guy who may flame out in a year or two. That's just my opinion. That's just where I stand on this whole thing. So stuff like that just raises my anger. Like, I'm just like, what are you talking about? What are you watching? These are guys that have done it. Please don't disrespect it. There's no need to do it.
That's fair. And I also think too, like even that for Bernard, like, oh, the new standard. And it could be something as small as like,
I know. That's why I want to watch the video.
Yeah. Like, coach, Sean McDermott used to have us put our right cleats on first before our left. And now Jim Leonard and Joe Brady, they have us do our left foot or right. So it could be something so inconsequential, but the story gets ran with like, it's a new standard. Like, it doesn't mean it could be something so superficial and nothing. And yeah, you just never know. And again, even if his standard is like, Jim Leonard and Joe Brady, they're holding us to a higher this, and we're changing this and doing that. That could sound great now, but what happens if you start out 1-5? Then everybody's gonna be like, well, I guess that new standard sucks. So like the results shape it no matter what. Because if you have, again, all the great training camp and offseason energy, but you suck in the regular season, everybody's gonna think what you did in the offseason sucked. And if you have a dreary or a weird offseason, but you have a winning regular season, everybody's gonna think your process is great. And the proof is in the pudding. So it's a win now league, a results driven league that's filled with muddiness and narratives. And I'm just excited that preseason football's here, because that means regular season football is almost here, and we could stop doing this whole like, oh, what does this mean? Oh, what's this change? Let's get on the field and see what's up and go from there.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm glad we had a very nice civil conversation. My colleagues and I did not. It was a lot of yelling and screaming, and they were attacking me that what has Harbaugh done in the playoffs, and what has he done recently, and how can you say his message isn't stale? And I'm like, because I don't agree with you. I don't think it is. I think he's done plenty. Does not Lamar Jackson deserve some of the blame for not performing in the playoffs? Do not the wide receivers and the running backs and the defensive line in there? I mean, is it all on the coach? The guy is a fantastic coach. And I think he's going to be great with the Giants. And I wish Joe Brady well, but Sean McDermott was a fantastic coach. All right. And I'm just saying it's more likely, in my opinion, that Baltimore will miss Harbaugh and that the Bills will miss McDermott than it is that the other two guys go on to become Hall of Fame level guys. We don't see Hall of Fame level guys all that often. Okay. Those are the facts, Jack. My colleagues don't like to see it that way. They're a little, as I call, POM. That's prisoner of the moment. Okay. I'm not a POM kind of guy. And by the way, just going back to what we were saying there, headlines and video stuff. So I saw that thing, Terrell Bernard. And like I said, I tried to watch the video. I am, as a 30-year media veteran who's covered professional and college sports my entire career, I am very hard. I am not a clickbait sucker. Okay. It is very hard to get me to click on something that is designed to be clickbait. We all know what that is, right? And if it's really that interesting to me, as something like this is, just because of our recent discussion and my argument with my colleagues the other day, I'm going to go and watch the whole thing and see if the clickbait was revealing or not. Was it true or wasn't it true? And then at least I can go, and then the old thing, Anthony, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. You get me to click once and you don't deliver, I'm out, baby. I'm out. You've just lost me. So just be careful about all that clickbait stuff. That's all I'm telling people. Be true to who you are. That's my message for the night.
I love it.
Anthony, always great to talk to you, my friend. Looking forward to talking to you again next week. Take care.
Thank you for having me. Have a good one.
You got a good laugh on the way out.